Sérgio Conceição is a man under pressure. You heard me right. You heard me right. He's a manager that's under pressure. Why? Just look at the game against Lecce. Lecce 2, Milan 3. Milan win. Now, of course, it's not about how it starts. It's all about how it ends. Everybody loves 3 goals on the bounce. Everybody loves watching their team come back and win the game, score goals in the dying minutes. Everybody loves it. But can any Milan fan turn around and say it was convincing? No. Can any Milan fan turn around and say it was dominant? No. Can any Milan fan come out and say that there were more positives than negatives? No. And you look at the manager, because a manager, the players on the pitch are a representation of their manager. And this Milan team, they didn't look up for it. Like, I'll be honest with you guys, this is a Lecce team that hasn't scored at home since December. But they've just put 2 past Milan. And there was a period where they were winning 2-0. And I was sat telling myself, Conceição is about to lose again. And the question marks are just going to get worse. The criticism is just going to get worse. The scrutiny, the pressure, it's just going to get worse. And it's a season that's practically over. Milan's entire season, I've always said, fail to prepare, prepare to fail. And you could see, before the game, Milan, they went with something a bit more different. Rafael on the bench, João Felix on the bench, new players coming in, integral pieces being taken out. They went with a 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3. And I was sat telling myself, let's see what this team has to offer. Conceição has had a whole week with these players. No midweek game. Let's see what the winning formula is. Let's begin to see some of his blueprint beginning to instill itself on this team. They go 2-0 down. They go 2-0 down. You look at the first goal. Nobody pushing higher up the field to close down the shot. Now, fair enough. It was a wonder goal. It was a wonder strike. But even then, you need your players to be aggressive off the ball, to close down that angle. Not give a player any chance of getting a shot away. But listen, Milan go 1-0 down. Now, the second goal, for me, it just shows you everything that's wrong with Milan. And what is it? A lack of fight. A lack of commitment. A lack of determination. Players throwing responsibility at one another. It's not my responsibility, it's yours. No, it's not yours, it's his. Milan, we said at the beginning of the video, they set up in a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-3-3. So, it's evident they had 3 players in midfield. Lecce, they go on the counter-attack. Now you could clearly see they get the ball out wide. It's a cutback. You've got all of Milan's 4 defenders in their defensive position. Look at the 3 Milan midfielders. All behind the Lecce player. That's now your responsibility. That's now your job. The defense is occupying the zone that they need to occupy. Your job as midfielders is to prevent any cutback into a box crashing midfielder, into a midfielder that's positioned himself in that area. The 4 defenders, they're there to defend any crosses, any diving headers, any rebounds, to put out any fires in the box. Anything beyond the 12-yard mark, that's on the midfielders. All 3 of Milan's midfielders late to the party. If you're late to the party, there's consequences. It was poor, and like, I've gone back and watched that goal and I could just see them jogging. Fair enough, somebody might say they've got nothing to play for, but that's not good enough. That's not good enough. Since when, just because your season is over, and the reason why it's over is because of your performances, do you just down tools? These are players that should be playing for their Milan futures, but I feel like some of these players in Milan, they behave and they play as if they're bigger than the club. The club won't get rid of me. I'm too good. They're nothing without me. And some of these players, I look at them and I tell myself, maybe, just maybe, Milan need to be a bit more firm and say, you know what? We'll happily let you go. Fair enough, we might downgrade in quality, but we will upgrade in hard work. But let's just speak on the positives. Milan do come back from 2-0 down. Now, the only positive for me is fight. Well, actually, no, there's 2. I'd say, number 1, it's fight. You could see some, not all, some of these players, they care. They want to win. They know their season is practically over, but they still want to win. They don't want to go out and humiliate themselves, regardless of the competition, regardless of the opposition. But we have to speak on, number 1, Cheistian Pulisic. Now, he's a player that under Conceição, I feel like he's been dealt a short straw. Like, he's been in and out of the team. He's sometimes played in the wrong position. He's sometimes not being able to occupy the zones that he likes because of the inclusion of certain players. like a Joao Felix. He's been in and out of the team. He's always been the guy to get substituted. He's had injuries, but this is the guy that put Milan on his back in the first half of the season. And he deserves a bit more respect from any new up-and-coming manager. But you could see today, Conceição looked at him and said, no Felix in the team. No Rafa Leao in the team. This is your attack. You're the orchestrator. You're the architect. You've got a number 9 in Santi Jimenez. Go show me what you can do. And I feel like Cheistian Pulisic, he rolled back the months. I will be honest. He rolled back the months. He showed the Pulisic that we saw at the beginning of the season. The one with hunger. The one with determination. The one that can change the game and spin it on its back completely by himself. 1 minute he's on the left. 1 minute he's on the right. Then he's in the centre. Then he's giving and going with Santi Jimenez. He got himself 2 lovely goals. He converted a penalty. He got the game-winning goal. He was involved. And when Milan have a Cheistian Pulisic that's heavily involved and that's putting the ball into the back of the net, that's combining with his teammates, Milan go on to win games. But he's a player that you could probably say this is his best performance under Conceição. And the crazy thing is, it's not even as if he's had average performances under this manager. No, he's not really been given a chance, and it's a shame. It really, really, really is, because I see a lot of you guys sometimes say in the comments, how has Joao Felix walked into this team and cemented a spot when Cheistian Pulisic has been our standout performer? But I feel like Cheistian Pulisic really stepped up to the plate. He showed he's a player of quality, and he showed, regardless of whether or not the season is done or not, I care about Milan. I care about myself. Another player that's also come under criticism, and listen, I said this about the Mike Maignan video that I released yesterday. When you're the best player in a team, or regarded as one of the best players in a football team, when it goes wrong, when the ship starts sinking, you are going to be one of the first players to be criticised. So it's like a blessing and a curse. The blessing is you are the best player. Everybody loves you, everybody adores you. But the curse is, when it does go wrong, everybody looks at the best player and says, how could you let this happen when we have you in our team? And that player is Rafa Leao. He doesn't start the game once again. Listen, it's been a common theme this season where Rafa Leao doesn't start games, but it's also been a common theme where he doesn't start games, comes off the bench and completely changes it. And I feel like his performance today off the bench, I wouldn't even say it was a statement performance. We all know how good Rafa Leao is. It was just a performance that showed he cares more than anything. Sometimes a player comes off the bench and they show the quality that they have. No, with Rafa Leao, even when I saw the Cheistian Pulisic game-winning goal, I straight away looked at Rafa Leao. He was celebrating alone. He was over the moon. He was happy. He's a player that's come under heavy criticism this year. He doesn't care about Milan. He's already planning for life outside of the Serie A, outside of Italy. He wants more money. He wants the fame. He's a player that cares about Milan. And you could see his performance today coming off the bench, knowing his team's on the back foot, knowing his team is losing. He was like, I'm going to do everything that I can to help win the game. And when you look at his performances in DL, you could see a 91% pass accuracy. He got himself 1 assist, 3 key passes, 3 out of 3 crosses. This is a Milan team that struggled to convert crosses. 2 out of 3 long balls, 2 big chances created, 6 out of 9 duels won. And where he ran Lecce ragged is the fact that they couldn't get near him. So the only way to stop him is by fouling him. Rafa Leao in 45 minutes of football was the most fouled player on the pitch. So some players played 90 minutes and they still weren't fouled as much as him. They couldn't stop him. They resorted to fouling him. It helps a lot. Rafa Leao, I feel like the message that he probably sent to Conceição, which is, fair enough, you're not getting results. Fair enough. The football isn't dominant, it isn't assertive, it isn't entertaining, it isn't penetrative. But if you're going to bench me, you better damn make sure when you do bench me, the best player, you go out and perform. Because when you bench your best player, and you now have to call upon him when your team is losing and he comes on and changes the game, it says a lot about the player than it says about the manager. And you could flip it the other way. It says that the manager is struggling. The manager is under pressure. The manager is chopping and changing, but he's chopping and changing the wrong players. And for me, I feel like this season when you see, this week when you see with Conceição, there's rumours to Conte, there's rumours to Allegri, because Milan, they want like a winner, a coach, somebody that understands the Serie A, somebody that understands culture. I just look at it and tell myself, for me, Conceição isn't really a coach. I'd probably say for me, he falls into that bracket of just man managers. Like you could see the fight, his personality, the fire in his belly, that aggressiveness it can rub players up in a good way or in a bad way. If it rubs you up in a good way, you will play out of your skin. You will run through a brick wall for this manager. But this Milan camp, I feel like having a manager of fight, a manager that holds players accountable, a manager that's not really there to be their friend. A lot of them are drowning. A lot of them are struggling. And for me, I don't really have an issue with the way he likes to manage. I just have an issue with when it comes to like tactics. And I feel like during his time in Milan, you haven't really seen a blueprint. You haven't really seen an ethos besides fight. And even then, he's struggling to motivate the players to go out and show fight. So if the team is struggling to show fight and you as a manager are struggling to show that tactical acumen, that's when I do look at a manager and say, maybe, just maybe, either the job is too big for you or it's a squad that's too diverse, that's too big of egos, like a squad that you probably just can't handle, can't control. And maybe, just maybe, this Milan team does need that senior head to walk in and demand authority. A senior head that can walk in and tell them, this is what I've done in the game. Keep your mouth shut and listen. And listen, when you look at some of the rumours, what do I make on it just quickly? Allegri, I think Milan would be heading in the wrong direction in terms of the football, the brand, what they want to become. Antonio Conte, it would be exciting, but I don't know how possible it would be. But the one thing that I'm beginning to see week in, week out is Conceição, Milan. I feel like it's a chapter that will end in the summer. Now, if you're new, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to let me know what you think in the comments. And I will catch you guys on another one.